Hey everybody! The story continues as dating as a former Jehovah's Witness, now navigating the world of dating as a mom, nonetheless, with kids. That was not an easy thing to do. But here we are, thanks to my amazing cousin who definitely gave me the push. And there were many, many times I wanted to quit and say, forget this is goofy. And he kept pushing me, and you know what? He was right. Another thing was, where was I really going to meet someone if I ever was going to meet anyone? Because most of my things now involved things with the kids and school and work. And then you're so tired, I'm not going to go to the bar. And, kudos to the people who do and meet people there. It's just really not me. I'm tired at night. So I was just like, this dating thing isn't even going to happen. But my cousin kept pushing me. And if you've ever seen the movie Stranger Than Fiction, there is a scene in there where Maggie Gyllenhaal makes Will Ferrell, the IRS guy. He didn't want to try her cookies, and she just kept pushing him to eat the cookie. Great movie, by the way. And so finally he takes this cookie because she gave him the nudge, and he just was so happy. And sometimes you have to have someone in life who gives you the push to taste the cookie. And that was my cousin, so big old kudos to him. And here I found myself on a date, dating this guy who ended up being an Exjw, and he was nice. And immediately, going on the date, you guys will sympathize with this. It's just different. It's a different thing to see someone's picture, even talking to them and on the phone. And my cousin said, you should FaceTime people so you can kind of get to know them and see their mannerism and see if you vibe. And he's not wrong with that. I can't say that I always heeded that one because it was kind of difficult for me to FaceTime. But he's right. I think it's a good thing to get the vibe of someone before you meet them. But this first date, I was just a nervous bundle because we met at Panera for coffee. And I was like, do you wait for them to pay? I'm kind of struggling with that as a girl because it's just, I don't want to expect someone to pay for me, especially if the date isn't going to work out. I think it's just, for me, it was, and maybe some people don't care as much as I do, but I was very worried about this while dating all the time. I don't want to expect someone to have to pay for me and all this. And so I just would make sure I got there a little early and bought my own coffee so I already had it. Of course, if someone is so nice and offers to take you out and wants to pay, that's wonderful too. I just don't want to expect it. And then especially if it doesn't work out, I don't want to feel like I owe anyone anything. And not everybody's a super nice person and, understands or whatnot. So I just got there a little early, stood in line, got my coffee. And when I turned around, this first date was already behind me and just kind of smiled at me, which was so nice because it broke the ice. And it didn't work out with that person, and that's okay. But it just gave you experience to get used to doing this. And not everybody is going to smile at you and be friendly, but you don't really want to be with those people anyways, so it's kind of like a weeding out process. Well, as I was getting to know this guy, let's call him Eric, not his name. I changed it, but, for the sake of the story. And we chatted for a long time. We talked about him having grown up as a Jehovah's Witness, and he just rejected everything always since he was a teenager. And luckily for him, he didn't get baptized, but it still caused a lot of friction between him and his mom. And it's the same old story all the time that people lose their families when they leave. Even if they didn't get baptized, you're not going to be really that close anymore. So he was hurt through all that. But throughout the conversation, I kind of pick up on nuances and little hints and stuff. He said that he had met a best friend and his best friend and him, they had two interests that they really bonded over and that helped him get through this tough time, to have like a buddy who understood him and talked to him. And one of those interests was chess. And he's like, and the other interest that we always talk about and to this day still text about, I don't really want to mention yet. and I had a worry, and I'm like, I'm going to just throw this out there, and it might be wrong, but because I'm telling you guys, it was just very, very little subtle things that he said where in my head, I'm like, And so I said to him, do you have a foot fetish? And he said, how would you know that? How? And I'm like, there was just a few little things that you said. And I don't know, and I could have been wrong, but it just to me seemed like that. And he's like, I do. And my best friend does too. And so, yeah, we bond over that. And for a minute there, I'm like, okay, can I power through this? Because he is nice, and then, you can already be kind of like done with this dating experience. Hey, and to each their own. If he has a foot fetish, totally fine. Like, have a foot fetish. It's cool. But I really think you should find someone who shares that with you. And so I said to him, I was talking to a coworker, and she's like, can you deal with this? And I'm like, yeah, I can totally deal with it. And she said, well, would you ever, and she was giving some scenarios, and I'm like, no, it's not me. I can't do it. I can't power through it. No, I can't. And I suggested to him that he really should go on a foot fetish site. That was probably better for him. Find someone who's into that, and you can share a passion, a common interest. It's okay. It's just not me. I mean, the longer that I had thought about it, I thought there's so many things that we worry about. I just don't feel like worrying about my feet. I don't feel like worrying if I got a pedicure or if, it's just like the last thing on my mind. And to me, I don't understand that. But I wish him the best. I hope he finds someone that they can share a common passion, someone who's into it. And I am grateful because that really kind of helped me break the ice with dating. And so I continued my search. I think my main goal was I just want to find someone who's kind. I just want to find someone who's nice. And there were a few bad dates that I went on, actually a lot. And maybe I should cover some of them because it makes for an interesting story. One guy, I drove quite a way to meet him, about an hour. And he was very negative about life, very negative. And it was kind of sad because he was a nice guy. It's just his attitude about everything was so negative. And then when we got there, and I'd driven a pretty far trip, we decided to split the bill, and that's fine. And he said to me, if I order an appetizer, would you have some of it? And I'm like, sure. And when the waitress came at the end to split the bill, he told her to split the appetizer on the bill with both of us. And I thought, are you for real? Are you really going to split? It's going to come out to $3. And that was just kind of a turn off. And it wasn't like he wasn't into the date. He actually wanted to keep dating and was completely shocked that I was, I don't think so. And it wasn't just the appetizer thing. It was just, I wasn't feeling it, really. And the whole date was just not really I think one of the mistakes that he made is he used a picture that was probably 10 years old. And when I saw him in person, he looked significantly older. And I don't think that it is a bad thing if you are older or anything, but just be real. Be the person in your pictures, because then when you show up, it's kind of wow, I feel a little deceived. Don't use old pictures. Don't use filtered pictures. It's maybe even show yourself how you look, just so the other person if you are going to meet, you might as well be real with the person that you are. And so the date just wasn't really well, and I felt like a little frustrated after, because you invest all this time talking to someone, and I thought it was gonna be like actually pretty good, and it wasn't at all. And even driving home that whole hour, I'm like, I'm done with this online thing. I hate it. And my cousin's like, no, so what? Like, he helped me chill out. He's like, you had a bad date. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Keep going. And so I went on another date, and this one, I felt like when he showed up, we were completely different people, and we're not vibing at all, and really almost seemed like he couldn't stand me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just want to get away from here. And you know what? That was immature on his part, because at the end of the day, if you've invested some time talking to somebody, you can at least be civil and just see it as like meeting a person, a friend. But again, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be done with this. And I am a sensitive person, and I think it's good sometimes to learn to be a little bit tougher and not take things so personal. It's just, there's people that they're jerks out there. It's time for me to learn to get over that, And so my cousin's like, keep dating. By the way, when you start this process with online dating, it is weird, because I wanted to be noble about it. And if I start talking to someone, just talk to the one person. And my cousin said that's really not how it is, though, because most of those people don't reply or don't carry on a conversation properly. So you got to have a couple irons in the fire, so to speak. And you just got to meet people. You're not really dating them yet. You're just kind of meeting and weeding out. And that felt really weird to me. I thought, I don't want to betray anybody. My cousin's like, it's not like that. Just talk to a bunch of people at the same time. It's okay. But sometimes I do notice that you feel like the other people are also talking to other people, and they can't really focus, which is a shame, because then it feels like you can't really connect truly with someone. And so I gone on one date with this guy, and he had kids too. He was just kind of wishy-washy. Like, I want to, but I don't really want to be dating just one person. And I'm like, okay. And then he would say, I really like you, but I don't know if I really want to give up being single. And I'm like, well, there's your answer. Like, please just be single. Like, I'm not into like being wishy-washy. I feel like I want to be with somebody who wants to like really be with me and be partners and best friends. And so we did go on a second date in that he forgot his wallet and ordered everything. He ordered alcohol, he ordered appetizer, dessert, main menu, and had me pay for everything. Because he forgot his wallet. And I was like, okay, felt kind of taken in as a single mom to be paying for all of that. And then the next day, I was at the kids' soccer practice, and this mom, she needed to buy shin guards at the soccer practice, but they only took cash. She didn't have cash. And I said, it's no problem. I'll just pay for this. It's no problem. And the lady goes, don't worry, I'll Venmo you back right away. And I'm like, oh, that's an idea. That's a thought. That's what that guy should have done there last night. He should have Venmo'd me. I mean, he's ordering up like beer after beer, and then he has me pay for it. How lame. And it's kind of funny, though, because you feel like, wow, is this an experience, this dating thing? It really is an experience. And then I was talking to another guy, another foot fetish. And I was like, wow. And sometimes I thought, I am going to bring up the whole Jehovah's Witness thing, because to me, and everybody's different, but to me, I'm being true to myself. I can't help, I was born into this. It's okay. I know some people are going to be judgmental, But at the same time, I do some things that are strange. So I feel like being open and honest about it explains those things. And I hope that the right person that you meet is going to be really understanding toward that and not judgmental. And so I would say that. And some guys would look at you like, ugh. So I felt like frustrated again with this dating thing, deleted the app. And then we're walking one day and we see this super cute couple with a baby, and we start chatting with them, and the guy's playing with his baby, and they said that they met on Hinge. And I'm like, are you serious? And he goes, yeah, and she's a teacher, and we fell in love. And I thought, man, he's such a nice guy, and she's such a nice girl. Maybe I should, my cousin's right, keep just doing this. Like, get over yourself. And I thought, all right, I'm just gonna download it again, and I'll just give it a shot. And there's a lot of profiles that seem just so out there. Some seem like threatening almost. Some bizarre, strange. And I just would look at everyone's eyes and I would think, does this guy have nice eyes? Like, does he look like a nice person? And sometimes that doesn't work out, because one guy, he seemed like he was going to be so incredibly nice. I met him for coffee, and he was such a total narcissist. Like, whoa. I felt like I was a kid on a date with someone like authoritarian. I'm like, ran after that. And even telling someone you're not interested, not easy, but you can do it. Like, you just got to get through it. So the story how I actually found my love, my best friend, I mean, like my soulmate, is really kind of sweet. And I'm going to save it for tomorrow. There is life after the cult. There is happiness, and so much happiness, even when you're a parent with kids, even when you have been affected by everything, even when you had trust issues. There's someone out there. Keep looking, and I hope I can inspire people with that. So tomorrow I will continue telling my story with a happy ending.